Hello students, hope you have gone through the first part of electrolysis in which I have explained up to electrochemical series and just introduced selective discharge of ions. What is selective discharge of ions? The preferential discharge of ions present in an electrolyte at the respective electrode is known as selective discharge of ions. There are factors which influence the selective discharge of ions. So there are three factors. The first is relative position of the cation or anion in the electrochemical series. So this is the electrochemical series of cation and anions. Lower the position of the ion in the electrochemical series, greater the tendency to be liberated. So the lower ones will be easily liberated than the cations present in the upper part of the series. Example, we'll take copper 2 plus ion and H plus ion. Copper 2 plus and H plus ion. Copper 2 plus is lower in the series compared to H plus. So both ions, when they migrate towards the cathode, copper 2 plus ion gets discharged. That is the position of the cation in the electrochemical series. Lower the position, they get discharged much easier. Then one more example, Ag plus and H plus ion. Suppose there are Ag plus and H plus ion in the electrolyte. They migrate towards the cathode and Ag plus ion gets discharged because it is lower in the series compared to H plus ion. The anions. Suppose there are two anions, sulfate ion and hydroxyl ion in the electrolyte. So sulfate ion in the series, if you see, it is in the top of the series, and down the series you find hydroxyl ion. So when they migrate towards the anode, hydroxyl ion gets discharged at the anode because of the position in the electrochemical series. The second factor is the concentration of the ion in the electrolyte. Based on the concentration also the discharge takes place. Higher the concentration of ion, greater the probability of it being discharged at the respective electrodes. Now let us take an example of dilute sodium chloride solution and concentrated sodium chloride solution. Electrolysis of dilute sodium chloride solution and concentrated sodium chloride solution. So sodium chloride, when it dissociates, that is an aqueous solution, it dissociates to give Na plus and Cl minus ion. And same thing with concentrated. It dissociates to give Na plus and Cl minus ion. And water dissociates to give H plus and OH minus ion. This is also same in the case of concentrated NaCl, H plus and OH minus ion. The H plus ion combines with water to form hydronium ion. In dilute NaCl, the H plus ion and Na plus ion move towards the cathode. The H plus ion gains electron more easily than Na plus ion. That's because of the dilution and gets discharged at the cathode. The hydroxyl ion moves towards the anode and preferentially gets discharged due to the position in the electrochemical series. So at cathode, hydrogen is evolved and at anode, oxygen is evolved, which in detail we'll study when we are doing electrolysis of acidified water. Now concentrated NaCl. Both H plus and Na plus ion move towards the cathode to get discharged, but despite the high concentration of Na plus ion, at a particular concentration, instead of Na plus, H plus ion gains electrons more easily than Na plus. Therefore, here again, H plus ion is discharged at the cathode. Then, chlorine Cl minus ion gets preferentially discharged due to high concentration of chlorine ion. So, it is a concentrated solution. Therefore, the chlorine ions are more concentrated. Therefore, at the anode, chlorine is evolved and at the cathode, hydrogen is evolved. Now, when you compare, you can see at cathode, whether it's dilute NaCl or concentrated NaCl, hydrogen is evolved, and at anode, in dilute NaCl, oxygen is evolved. In concentrated NaCl, chlorine is evolved. This is the main difference. At anode, oxygen is evolved with dilute NaCl, and with concentrated NaCl, chlorine is evolved. So you can see in this series, Na is at the top of the series and H is down the series. So therefore, hydrogen is evolved at the cathode. Then we take the anions. You can see chlorine is above the series and hydroxyl ion is down the series. So chlorine gets evolved at the anode. The next factor which influences selective discharge is nature of the electrode. There are two types of electrodes: inert electrodes, active electrodes. Inert electrodes, example, iron, graphite, platinum. Active electrode, copper, nickel, silver are the examples. Inert electrode does not take part in electrolysis. Active electrode takes part in electrolysis. So let us take an example of electrolysis of aqueous copper sulfate solution using active electrode and inert electrode to understand the concept better. So first is electrolysis of aqueous copper sulfate solution using active electrode copper. So cathode is copper, anode is also copper, which is active electrode. Now reaction at cathode is the same. Copper will be deposited. Whereas at anode, copper loses 2 electrons to the anode and forms copper 2 ions. So the product formed will be copper 2 ions when we use an active electrode. When we take an inert electrode, that is platinum, the reaction at anode, hydroxyl ions move towards the anode, lose 1 electron and form free hydroxyl radicals. And a minimum of 4 radicals are required for the completion of the reaction. So therefore you can write the half equation and then write the last equation, or you can directly write OH multiplied by 4 and 4H giving 2 molecules of water and 1 molecule of oxygen. Oxygen is liberated at the anode. It is just to make you understand better. If the electrode is active, that is copper, nickel, silver, the anions, that is sulfate or hydroxyl ion, migrate to the anode but are not discharged. Instead, the active electrode itself loses electron and forms respective ions at the anode. That's what we previously studied with the electrolysis of aqueous copper sulfate solution. The next is the electrolysis of acidified water. It is acidified with dilute sulfuric acid. So electrolyte is acidified water with dilute sulfuric acid. Cathode and anode are platinum foil, which are inert electrodes. Temperature is ordinary temperature, that is room temperature. Current is 3 ampere. 3 ampere current is passed through it. Dissociation of acidified water. Sulfuric acid dissociates to give 2H plus ion and sulfate ion. Water dissociates to give H plus and OH minus ion. So you have 2 acid radicals, that is sulfate and hydroxyl radical. At cathode, the hydrogen ion moves and gains 1 electron to form neutral hydrogen atom. A minimum of 4 hydrogen atoms are required for the completion of the reaction. So when 4 hydrogen atoms are formed, they combine to form 2 molecules of hydrogen as the product at cathode. At anode, hydroxyl ions move and lose 1 electron to the anode and free hydroxyl radicals are formed. A minimum of 4 hydroxyl radicals are required for the completion of the reaction. So when 4 hydroxyl ions are formed, they form 2 molecules of water and 1 molecule of oxygen. The product at anode is oxygen. So oxygen is liberated at anode. Note, pure water is almost a non-electrolyte. Therefore, dilute sulfuric acid is added to make the solution more electrolyte, and so dissociation takes place easily. Free ions are formed. Dilute sulfuric acid acts as a catalyst here. Therefore, this reaction is also called as catalysis. Dilute sulfuric acid is preferred to dilute nitric acid because dilute nitric acid may decompose and nitrate radicals may form. So this may interfere with the electrolytic reaction. The current is passed for a prolonged period of time because to ensure saturation of the gases, because the solubility of oxygen and hydrogen differs. The next is electrolysis of molten lead bromide, molten or fused lead bromide. You can observe the diagram carefully and you can find the electrolytic cell is made out of silica and it is molten lead bromide, that is the electrolyte. You can see the anode and cathode both are inert. They are graphite anode and graphite cathode. So now the temperature is maintained at 380 degrees Celsius and the current passed is 3 ampere. Now why is this silica crucible is used here? The electrolytic cell is made of silica because the crucible, it's non-reactive withstands high temperature and it is almost a non-conductor of electricity. Now, solid lead bromide is a non-conductor of electric current since its ions are not free. They are held by electrostatic force of attraction. Therefore, molten lead bromide is used. Aqueous solution is not used because lead bromide is not soluble in water. The ions become free when lead bromide in the fused or molten state, and hence the crucible is heated to maintain lead bromide in molten state. Therefore, it is heated to 380 degrees Celsius so that the lead bromide remains in the molten state. Dissociation of lead bromide PbBr2 gives Pb2 plus and 2Br minus. The Pb2 plus ions move towards the cathode and gain 2 electrons to be liberated as neutral atoms, that is lead. The silvery grey lead metal is deposited at the cathode. At anode, the bromide ions move and lose 1 electron to the anode and are liberated as neutral bromine atoms. Bromine vapors are formed. Bromine atoms combine together to form bromine molecule, which is reddish brown in color. These fumes are liberated at the anode. Electrolysis of aqueous copper sulfate using copper electrode, that is active electrode. This is another example for electrolysis. So here we are going to study about electrolyte copper sulfate, electrode, cathode copper, anode is also copper, that is the active electrode. The temperature is ordinary temperature and the current passed is 3 amperes. Now, dissociation of copper sulfate, aqueous copper sulfate, that is Cu2 plus and SO4 2 minus ions are formed. Water dissociates to give H plus and OH minus ion. So at cathode, Cu2 plus and H plus ion move towards cathode and Cu2 plus ion is discharged by gaining 2 electrons from the cathode to give neutral copper atom. And that is reduction takes place. At anode, sulfate and hydroxyl ion move towards the anode, but both of them are not discharged because the anode here is an active electrode. So therefore, the anode itself loses 2 electrons and forms copper 2 ions. The product at anode is nil. The ions are discharged in the electrolyte. So here there is loss of electron, therefore it is oxidation. Electrolysis of copper sulfate using inert electrode. Earlier you studied about electrolysis of copper sulfate using active electrode. Now see the difference. Cathode is platinum or carbon or copper. Anode is platinum or carbon. Now dissociation of copper sulfate. Dissociates to give Cu2 plus and SO4 2 minus ion. The Cu2 plus ion moves towards the cathode, gains 2 electrons and forms neutral copper atoms. That is brownish pink metal which gets deposited at the cathode. And the sulfate ions and the hydroxyl ion move towards the anode. Hydroxyl ions are discharged by losing 1 electron. It forms free hydroxyl radical. A minimum of 4 hydroxyl radicals are required for the completion of the reaction. Then it forms 2 water molecules and oxygen. Oxygen is liberated at the anode. Whereas in active electrode, you find at the anode there is no product being formed. The active electrode itself takes part in the reaction. A few points to be noted. The blue color of aqueous copper sulfate solution remains unchanged when copper electrodes, that is active electrodes, are used. But the blue color fades when platinum, that is inert electrodes, are used. What is the reason? The reason is if copper anode is used, for every copper discharge at the cathode as neutral copper atom, a copper 2 plus ion is added to the solution at the anode. That is, the anode itself produces the ions. Hence, copper anode diminishes in mass and the blue color does not fade if it is active electrode. If platinum or inert electrode is used, the copper 2 ions which are discharged at the cathode are not replaced at the anode because the anode does not take part in the reaction here because it's an inert electrode. Hence, the blue color of the copper sulfate solution fades. The important question asked is give reason in exam. Now we have studied about electrolysis of acidified water, electrolysis of copper sulfate, electrolysis of molten lead bromide. Now what is the use of electrolysis? That is applications of electrolysis. Electrolysis main applications are Electroplating of metals, electro-refining or purification of metals, electrometallurgy, that is extraction of metal by electrolysis. This is only given as a reference in this chapter, but electrometallurgy we will be studying in detail in metallurgy lesson. So first, electroplating of metals. So it is the electrolytic process of deposition of a superior metal like nickel, silver, chromium or gold on the surface of a base metal or article. Example, over copper or iron. Now, reasons for electroplating. It prevents the rusting or corrosion of the base metal like iron and copper and makes the article more attractive, gives an expensive appearance because iron will not have a good appearance. So if it is electroplated with silver or nickel or chromium, it gives a better appearance. Now, conditions for electroplating. The different conditions. The first condition is the article to be electroplated is always placed at the cathode. Very important point. The article to be electroplated is always placed at the cathode. What is the reason? During electrolytic reaction, the metal is always deposited at the cathode by gain of electrons. The metal to be plated is always made as anode. It has to be replaced periodically. The reason is the metal anode continuously dissolves as ions in solution. Therefore, it has to be periodically replaced. The third is the electrolyte must contain ions of the metal. The reason is ions of the metal migrate towards the cathode and are deposited as neutral atoms. The next point, a low current and for a longer time should be used. Higher current causes uneven deposition of the metal on the article. So low current for a long time initiates a smooth, firm and uniform and long lasting deposition. The last point, a direct current and not alternate current should be used. Alternate current causes discharge and ionization to alternate at the cathode, thus giving no effective coating on the article. Here is an example for electroplating. Here electroplating with nickel. Scissors is electroplated with nickel. The electrolyte is nickel sulfate solution. Anode is block of nickel and cathode the article to be electroplated. Dissociation of aqueous nickel sulfate. Nickel sulfate dissociates to give Ni2 plus ions and SO4 2 minus ion. Water dissociates to give H plus and OH minus ion. Nickel ion and hydrogen ion move towards the cathode. Nickel ion is discharged by gaining 2 electrons and it is deposited as nickel metal at the cathode. Sulfate ion and hydroxyl ion move towards the anode. Neither of them are deposited because nickel is an active electrode here. So nickel itself loses 2 electrons and forms nickel ion. So there is no product formed at the anode. So the anode diminishes in mass because it itself loses electron to form nickel ions. And nickel is deposited on the article because the article is the cathode. The next example is electroplating with silver. Just observe the diagram and see what is the anode and the cathode. Anode is a block of silver and cathode is the article to be plated. And electrolyte is sodium argentocyanide or sodium silver cyanide, which is a complex compound. Dissociation of electrolyte sodium silver cyanide. It is a complex salt. You can see a simple ion sodium and a complex ion silver cyanide. It dissociates from Na plus, Ag plus and Cn minus ion. Water dissociates from H plus and OH minus ion. So we have 3 cations, Na plus, Ag plus and H plus. All 3 move towards the cathode. But only Ag is discharged because it is lower in the electrochemical series. So Ag plus ion gains 1 electron and forms neutral silver atom, or metal gets deposited on the article. At anode, Cn minus and OH minus ion move towards the anode, but both are not discharged. Instead, the anode itself loses 1 electron and forms Ag plus ion. Silver anode loses electron to give Ag plus ion in solution, hence anode diminishes in mass. So the product anode is nil. An important note here, sodium argentocyanide, which is a complex salt, is preferred to AgNO3, which is a simple salt, because migration of Ag plus ions from a complex salt solution is slow compared to that from a simple salt, that is silver nitrate. Hence, an even deposition of the metal silver is obtained when we use a complex salt. When we use a simple salt, the deposition will be uneven because of the fast migration of the ions. The next application is electro-refining of metals. Refining means to make pure, and electro, the method employed to make the metal pure by electrolysis. The diagram shows the purification of copper. The anode is taken as the thick block of impure copper, the copper which has to be purified, and the cathode is a thin sheet of pure copper, and the electrolyte is copper sulfate solution. The other metals which are extracted by electrolysis are zinc, lead, mercury and silver. Now let us study about the dissociation of copper sulfate solution in the electro-refining of copper. Copper sulfate dissociates to give Cu2 plus and SO4 2 minus ions. Water dissociates to give H plus and OH minus ion. Cu2 plus ion and H plus ion move towards the cathode. Cu2 plus ion is discharged by gaining 2 electrons from the cathode to form neutral copper metal, which gets deposited on the thin sheet of pure copper at the cathode, which you can see in the diagram. Sulfate ion, hydroxyl ion move towards the anode, but neither of them are discharged because anode is an active electrode. Anode itself loses 2 electrons to form copper 2 ions. Therefore, it diminishes in mass. A note here, the impurities present in the impure copper anode settles down as anode mud or slime, which you can see in the diagram.